Somebody has crashed their car because they're like, I can't listen to this shit anymore. Somebody's written a nasty YouTube comment. You guys fucking suck.
I hope so.
I hope so. Bring it.
No, because let's be honest. Like let's
unpack it.
Every time you comment on something, all you're telling me is that you listened and you watched. So joke's on you, because
joke's on you. We'll take those.
And here's
views.
the thing: you got so upset over little stupid me and whatever saying and doing something that you had to comment. You just had to comment, and you couldn't be troubled with spelling and pronunciation.
They're looking at their keyboard and they're like,
"I'll drink your blood."
Pretty much.
So Andor, did you catch up? Did you watch episodes?
I did. I watched both 3 and 4 today, which is good because I just
recording on Saturday.
I really gotta have to be honest. This is one of the most powerful shows to me, and what it says is, I've talked about my struggles with anxiety and depression before, and sometimes when life has gotten me to the point where it's just as I've gotten older and whatnot, I kind of tend to want to withdraw from society, if you will. I kind of tend to want to just stay inside the house and not go anywhere. And there have been times that I've thought about just running away and just, dropping my phone somewhere and just running away and never being found again. And the reason why I would never do that is because I wouldn't want anybody that cares about me to wonder what happened. Mm-hmm. To wonder if they did something or to wonder, I couldn't do that.
I think most people, I think a lot of people have had that feeling of like just throwing your phone away and just being away from everyone for a while.
But Andor is something of, it's dealing with goodbyes in such a way that it's really hit me hard, kind of. A little bit. The fact that he was basically taken away from Kenari, probably for the best for him, I'm sure.
Planet, yeah.
Sure.
Pretty much everybody.
His fucking robot. Oh my god! Like that robot breaks my fucking heart,
man. After the mining accident, everybody left.
So,
yeah. No. BB is or B. Is it B3?
BB. EMO or something? B4 EMO? I don't remember.
B2 EMO, I'm pretty sure.
B2B EMO? I don't know.
B2 EMO? Come on.
They just call him B.
But B is great. And it's because
like we talked about... Is he a fucking bumblebee?
It's like we talked about before. Wow, dude.
Think of the fucking comedy!
It's like we talked before that he's like an actual prop. He's not CG'd, and you
can tell a lot of the stuff.
It sounds so novel, but man, when real light hits a real object, it makes a big difference. And to see that he's more of a motorized thing and like actually emotes, and you identify pretty quick with the little guy, the little red guy.
Well, it deals with the music is so good, and it deals with, again. My thinking is that this theme deals with goodbyes and whether or not, you go through your life and you think this is going to be, you think ahead and you're like, this is going to be my story and stuff. And you don't realize when you're younger, you don't realize it doesn't really work that way. It just doesn't.
Life has different plans.
Yeah, you can plan out your life. And I'm sure there's people who've gotten close.
They're like 5 years old. They know what they want to do. They go and they do it. There's people that
exist
that do that.
But life happens to change things.
Not a lot of people do, though.
Right. But life happens sometimes to change all that, and what is your story? What is your story going to be? How does Andor get to where he is in Rogue One?
Yeah.
How does he get there?
Which is like a 3-year span, right? This is like
5 years. I thought it was 5 before the Battle of Yavin.
I couldn't tell you, so I would say you're probably right with 5.
Because Rogue One takes place around the same time as A New Hope.
Yeah, it's literally like right before A New Hope.
Like a week or two or something. A month or two or so. So, but I remember the very first episode, I believe it said 5 BY, which is before Yavin.
Okay.
I believe.
Either way, we're seeing this like short amount of time watching Cassian Andor turn into the guy that we saw in Rogue One, and I do love the idea that the first time we see him in Rogue One and in Andor is he kills someone to kind of let you know of what kind of adventure this is going to be. I think, with episode 3...
I loved watching the fucking corpos just get fucking blown away.
So funny,
awesome.
So funny story. The in-laws stopped by to visit and help watch my son while I went to work on Friday. Before I went, they had just were hanging out, and they had to catch up on She-Hulk and Andor. So I was like, perfect. I could get a refresher of these shows before I talk about them. But I rewatched the first 3 episodes, and I could tell you on rewatching those, I really fucking like this show.
Andor,
Because going back and watching...
Dude, Stellan Skarsgård is so fucking good, man.
Well, just going back and watching the episodes again and kind of just sitting with the dialogue and everything and just like how smartly written it is. Like the part that we talked about in the last review we did where we talked just, again, seeing that scene and seeing his CO just be like, look, they went to a brothel we're not supposed to do. They were drinking on duty, which they're not supposed to do.
And it turns out,
They got into a fight with
he should have just let it go.
He got into a fight with someone and they got killed.
And guess what? It turns out he should have. Here's the
that
thing.
Dude with the mustache, who was the most logical one, gets fucked over in the 4th episode.
Here's the thing. And I know people are gonna balk at this and stuff, but those corpos are clearly representatives of.
They're cops.
Yeah.
Yeah. This show is just unabashedly fucking anti-cop.
And so to kind of see that kind of authority figure, which is just like shouldn't have that kind of authority, get fucking just.
And it
just get fucking whoops.
And it drives me so insane. And I don't get how people cannot view Star Wars as always being political. It has wars in its name. When you
yes.
When you say war, that's a political impact.
Do you not know that war is political?
You can't have war without politics.
You literally can't.
Yeah. But anyway, but just. People, there's some people that talk about
people
how
don't shout across borders. Okay,
there's people that talk about how this doesn't feel like Star Wars, and I'd say that's total bullshit because these corpos are fascist cops.
They're imperial lights. They're Imperial's light.
And that's the funny thing is we even make the joke. We kind of joke about it in the fact where we see the dudes in the council in the white robes. It's like those corpos are fucking nobodies that are in this one squad. And again, that's the world building of like how meticulous it is. Like, this is our sector. This is our jurisdiction. And da-da-da-da-da.
Dude, I love
it.
The behind the scenes into the intelligence of the Imperials.
Yeah. Real quick.
So fun.
I knew I would love this episode. Episode 4, the one that just came out this week.
Yeah.
Because we finally got to see a little bit of the inner workings of the Empire. And I am a nerd for that political shit. And look, I have my problems with the prequels and their politics because I just...
But I love the scenes in the Senate.
This is different because this feels compelling. I'm sorry, George, but some of the dialogue...
Did you ever see the Simpsons episode where they're watching the prequels?
Yeah.
And they're doing the Senate or whatever, and like it's like an hour later and they're still doing the Senate, and like, oh my god! And finally an AT-AT like bursts in, and they're like, finally, and it's like... and then he goes, point of order, and he starts saying something, and they're like, well, you have to wait until your turn. He goes, okay. And this AT-AT sits down and opens a newspaper.
Sorry. No, look, that's a fair
point
thing
of
to
order.
say. I just didn't find the political scenes in those prequels as compelling as I do with this. I think, like, when he's...
Well, this is more desperate.
Yes.
The stuff that happened in the prequels was large...
And
affected so many different people.
Even in the prequels, we still didn't get an inner working of the Empire. We kind of saw how Palpatine did all the things he did to become the Emperor, but we don't get to see what we're seeing here, which is like just, again, how boring and meticulous these are, and like how...
It's a bureaucracy.
And it's a fascist system, so yeah, of course it's going to be like this. And my favorite thing was that dude, the head dude, who said, we're doctors. We're here to clean out infections. And so it's like, that is such a beautifully written line that these... And this is...
I like that guy a lot. He's a good actor.
Yeah, and why
perfectly cast.
I like this show, at its core, it is an immigration story. It's a story about radicalization.
Oh, and by the way...
so fucking smart.
I know that no grifters will probably get this because they're too focused on other stupid shit.
Yeah.
But what they won't notice, probably, is that all of the... Imperials are humans.
Yeah.
You know? And so they might think, well, the Imperials are they're inclusive. Like, look, no, they're not actually, because the Imperials have a strict no aliens or no no non-human
Wait,
rule.
Wait, like almost like a master race? Like a Nazi?
Yeah, weird, right?
It's almost like the stormtroopers are Nazis.
Yeah, you never see an alien stormtrooper.
It's almost like all the officers are white dudes.
What? It's almost like Homelander is not supposed to be somebody you're supposed to look up to.
It's crazy, crazy stuff. No, man, this show. Again, I went back and rewatched episode 3, and the scene where fucking is it Stellan Skarsgård?
Yeah. Well, Luthen, his character.
Yeah. When he shows up and has that conversation with Andor, that was fucking good. And then to have the tension of that with the corpos going through the town, intercutting it, is so great. Also, shout out to Tim being a fucking piece of shit. Still mad at that dude. How did he pull Bix, by the way? How did
Right?
That dude.
Damn. Also, I mean, here's my thinking, is that if he's such a shit that he thinks he did so wrong that she'll never forgive him, so that's why he acted the way he did to get killed. And dude, seriously, you're a fuck in so many ways, dude. Not only are you a fuck for telling, but you're a fuck because, dude, you literally hadn't. I would love that life, man.
Yeah.
You wake up, you have a purpose every day. You make a meager living. You have somebody beautiful to go home to.
Yeah.
You're in love. You know.
So what did you think of the Mon Mothma scene in episode 4?
Loved it. I loved all.
I liked that he did like a little disguise, and they had this whole front with the sword.
I liked after he got his thing on and he was like trying it out.
Yeah, like,
that was cool.
But yeah, I love that it had like a little back room that was all coordinated and stuff. I like again. This
But we don't think about that either. Like,
this is how you do politics.
she goes
in
into
Star
the
Wars
bank
for me.
and all new faces. You know, like, I mean, it's totally true. Like, guerrilla politics, like she's trying to do, is not easy. And we're seeing that. We're being kind of introduced to the fact. And by the way, Mon Mothma's husband, how did you pull her? Because you're a fuck. You're a fucking dildo, man.
You believe this shit.
Yeah, dude, he is a piece so far. I mean, maybe they'll kind of come around on it, but so far he's clearly like a piece of shit. And I don't know. I can't imagine that she trusts him with any of the rebellion shit because he's clearly such a societal, you know, he's a society climber, you know. Nice fucking back fucking
Social
ponytail
ladder.
too, douchebag. Nice kimono, douchebag.
Kimono is what I'm saying.
You know, kimono, kimono, yes. Wait.
Think of the fucking comedy!
Kimono.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
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 What?
All right. So what did you think of him joining like the rebels in episode 4? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
That whole
I'm
dynamic.
excited to see how that goes along, but
Saw Gerrera's name
they,
got
me-
dropped.
they mentioned him. Yep. No, I'm just excited to see this different side of the rebellion, the underside of it. You know, the shit that we saw in most of the Star Wars movies. The rebellion, and there's a great Cracked article. I can't remember who it's by, but they talk about the reason why the sequel trilogy was doomed is because of the crawl. You have Star Wars, A New Hope, whatever.
Yeah.
They have that crawl. It's very clearly defined what's going on in the galaxy. But in the sequel trilogy, it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Luke Skywalker is gone.
No, but what they're like, none of it makes any sense. Okay, so if the Republic is the government and the First Order is like a legitimately recognized government, then the Republic is illegally funding a terrorist organization called the Resistance to attack the First Order?
Yeah.
Because they can't do it because that's war. And then wait a second. They destroy the system where the capital is of the Republic and it dissolves completely? Well, that wasn't very. I mean, it's a great article because you're like, yeah, that's why. Because the scope of what's going on in the galaxy during the sequel trilogy is not known. It's not explained very well. Sci-fi only works as well as the world building.
Yeah.
That's why the original trilogy was so good. That's why even the prequel trilogies surpassed the sequel trilogy because the story was important. The world building was important.
Okay.
And
well,
he
that's
built-
just some people's opinion.
You think
I really
you think the prequels are worse than the sequel?
If I'm being totally honest, I don't really like the prequels or the sequel.
Well,
trilogy.
no, but if I had to pick one, I'd rather watch the sequel or the prequels.
Yeah, I really do not like those prequels.
Suck it.
Wow.
No, the reason why I'm talking about that is because I've always liked to see. It's always been clear what the stakes are in the Star Wars era, this era of A New Hope and Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry I didn't say them in order. Somebody's gonna.
Don't come at me.
I can't
Internet.
believe you didn't know that Return of the Jedi was after Empire Strikes Back.
Stupid cook. You gonna drop the mic?
Sorry.
it's close.
Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. So this is cool because we know what the scope is, in the big picture, but now we're seeing like the little people at the bottom, and that's why I think Rogue One was so successful.
Yeah, because it's showing you a side of this era of Star Wars that you haven't seen before.
And the
You
underbelly,
You haven't seen them. We talked about She-Hulk being a slice of life. This is kind of like a slice of life of like what it was to live under the Empire's fascist regimes.
What happens to spies after they do their job? Are they rewarded with medals and shit?
I can't wait for the episodes where he infiltrates the Empire because those are going to be super intense.
But what happens to like spies? Like in every
they always end up dead.
They either end up dead or basically discommunicate or excommunicated.
Yeah.
Because
Get
why
burned, burn notice.
Why
Bruce
would you?
Campbell.
Why would you want to spy after they've done their job? They can't be trusted. They're literally not to be trusted.
Yeah. Well, it's like we talked about last week. The show's about
So
loyalties.
Right.
And
we're
who to
seeing
trust.
we're seeing these people who will never see any sort of recognition for what they're doing. They cannot and they will not see recognition for it.
The guys on the ground that are doing this to part of the rebellion to fight these guys.
But they believe so strongly that they're willing to show up and do what they can. Do you think?
I
I was about to go full fucking snowflake, dude.
Well, like,
do you think when I show up to protest that I expect to get fucking credit?
Oh God! Well, getting it now, Mr. White Savior.
I'm here to save this abortion rights protest.
I'm here to lead this BLM.
Listen,
rally.
all you, yeah, right. Can you imagine some dude showing
Super
up in
white
front of?
liberal.
Dude, that's going to be a sketch.
That's write that one.
Can you
down.
imagine a guy showing up at the protest in front of Kim's house and being like, "Ladies, I got this."
I think I speak for my black friends. It's like, whoa, dude.
I don't know how soon that guy would be torn apart.
What are we talking about? Andor.
We're being SJWs like Biden instructed us to be.
But that scene where Stellan Skarsgård says to him, he's like, do you want to fight these bastards for real? It's such a good, well-delivered line and such an impactful one of like how he's saying that Tyler's dying off mic.
Not so much off mic. Continue.
Yeah, you done?
No!
No.
No,
Think of the fucking comedy!
Took it too far.
when we get huge, I'm going to be like, I totally disown episode 66. And they'll be like, why? I'm like, too
whoa,
much.
we're talking about Star Wars.
much potato
Order
head.
66,
Too much
episode
potato head.
66.
Too much potato head. What?
All right. But it's such a great, impactful line because he knows he's cutting right to the core of what Cassian wants. Because
Yeah, do you want to hurt them or do you want to just keep stealing their trinkets?
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're really hurting them? No, like let's get in there and fucking fight them and be a part of the rebellion. And it's cool to see. Again, it's cool that we're seeing that journey of Andor to what he becomes in Rogue One. And like I said last week, it is not that I hate prequels. It's that, again, I feel like some prequels shouldn't be made. Some things I don't really care about. This, to me, works as a prequel because it's in an era of Star Wars we've never been in.
Right.
They're showing me things that I've never seen before.
What do we always?
And it's not just being fan service.
Yeah. What do we always talk about prequels? There's no stakes. With Obi-Wan especially.
And you could argue Andor has no stakes because we know he dies in Rogue One.
Sure.
You can argue that.
But it's different because in Obi-Wan, how to put this?
You know that
There are stakes in this show, mainly because we know that he dies eventually and doesn't, make it past the fucking battle.
By
of
the way, it
Yavin.
was my favorite thing about Rogue One
Right.
is that they all died because it's like, again, it shows you the impact and the level.
Right,
It's-
and nobody will remember their names.
no, but they fought.
And we do as
but
an
we
audience.
do, yeah, it talks about
But do
anytime.
you think on Coruscant anywhere there's a fucking statue of Cassian Andor?
Well, yeah,
no.
and again, it ties into the original themes that George Lucas had, where it was these people with inferior technology, inferior resources rose up against this big, mighty empire. That's what this story has always been about. And you saw that in Rogue One, and you're seeing it in Andor. You're seeing the struggle that they're going through. And, dude, how did you not fucking, like... When he's talking to B and B can't respond to him and they're tracking him, that's fucking heartbreaking.
Yes.
I care about these people because, yeah, I know they die, but
Dude, but when she was like, that's when it stops. That's when you have to be worried. It's like, oh, shit.
shut up. Also, I love that the Karn got fucking shoot out in episode 4.
Butthole got chewed
And
out.
again, maybe we thought it was so lethargic because we saw cops actually living with their actions.
I got to be honest. I thought the best part of that was when he was going to his home or wherever on Coruscant,
Yeah.
and he kept going down. Like, you know, like the farther you go down on Coruscant, the worse, the less you have.
Because, this dude is trying to make a name for himself. He's trying, because again, it's a show
He's
about.
going to turn into somebody.
It's a show about radicalization, and he is someone that fucking buys the bullshit and is hardcore fashy washy.
Things don't work unless we.
All right, that's enough talking about Andor. Episode 3, I give it. I give it 3 dudes hammering the bell out of 5, and then I give episode 4.
I just like it. I don't give ratings.
7.
I don't do ratings.
7. I got nothing. 7 out of 10.
20 minutes after I gave a very clear rating for She-Hulk episode 7, I refuse to. I don't do ratings.
Well, Tyler, it's been an honor, and I feel like
we don't have alarm
anybody
bells?
that's listened this far has been
Misery, misery, misery. That's what you've chosen.
Oh, they've seen a lot of it.
What?
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.